What if I told you your brain has been wired the wrong way for manifestation? Even the way you breathe might be creating interference that blocks what you want. Today I'll share a breathing method that, according to scientists, has the power to reshape reality. Most manifestation teachings say you should breathe and imagine your desires as if there's something outside of you that you need to attract. We've been conditioned to see dreams as separate, something we must chase or pull in. But quantum physics shows something else. When two particles become entangled, they instantly affect each other no matter how far apart they are. So what if your awareness and your desires are already entangled like that? This changes everything. I'm not here to give you another breathing trick that treats manifestation as something external. I'll show you how to use the principle of entanglement to break the illusion that you and your dream are separate, allowing manifestation to happen instantly. Through recognition, not effort. Here's the truth, you're not trying to get something new. You're remembering what you already are. Back in the 1930s, Einstein struggled with this idea, calling it spooky action at a distance. He couldn't accept what experiments were revealing about reality. What shocked him was the discovery that once two particles interact, they stay connected. Change one, and the other reacts right away, no matter the distance. This means instant connection across huge spaces, even faster than light, something Einstein believed was impossible. Later, physicist John Bell confirmed this through his famous theorem. What he and others found wasn't just about particles. It revealed a deeper truth about the universe: separation is an illusion. Things that look separate are actually parts of one whole, linked through what scientists call non-local correlation. Think of those times when you felt deeply connected to someone and somehow knew when something was happening to them, even from far away. That may be this same phenomenon on a bigger scale. The same invisible ties that link particles across the universe may also be linking you to everything you've ever wanted. And here's the insight that changes how you see your goals: when one entangled particle is observed, its partner changes immediately. The moment you put your focus on one, the other instantly adjusts. No signals, no waiting, no detectable process, just perfect coordination between two parts of what is really one system. This isn't just a strange scientific fact. It's a reflection of how consciousness works. When you pay attention to something, you're not simply watching from the outside. You're part of it. Your awareness doesn't just observe reality, it helps create it. Think about what this means for manifestation. When you focus on a desire, you're not reaching for something outside yourself. You're recognizing a connection that's already there. Your awareness and your desires aren't two separate things, they're two sides of the same field of consciousness. They only look separate because that's how we've been taught to see the world. This is why the usual way of manifesting often feels so tiring. If you believe you're trying to pull something in from outside, you're fighting against the real nature of reality. You're forcing separation when, at the quantum level, everything is already connected. It's like a wave trying to pull in the ocean, without realizing it's already the ocean in wave form. Your awareness and your desires are already part of the same field. That means every desire you feel isn't proof you're missing something. It's actually your own consciousness showing itself to you, reminding you of what you already are. Wanting abundance is just abundance showing itself through your awareness. Longing for love is love itself awakening within you. Dreaming of health is wholeness recognizing its own presence. If this is true, and quantum physics points to it, then manifestation isn't about getting anything new. It's about letting go of the idea that you're separate from what you want. It's realizing the seeker and the thing being sought are already connected, appearing as two only because of how we've been taught to look at life. And this is where breathing becomes the bridge between science and your lived experience. When you breathe in a way that honors unity instead of separation, you align your body and mind with quantum reality. Specific breathing patterns can break down the walls your mind has built between you and your desires. They let you experience the truth that physicists have been proving in labs for decades. Breathing to release separation is the same force that holds entangled particles together across galaxies. You're tuning your awareness to the unity that science now says is the foundation of reality. This isn't just a nice metaphor, it's a real application of discovery. Strangely, ancient mystics already knew this thousands of years ago, long before science could measure it. They spoke of consciousness as one field showing up in many forms, of the wave realizing it's also the ocean. Now, quantum physics is confirming the same thing: separation is the illusion, unity is the truth. Before we move on, here's your first quantum practice you can use right now. Take 3 deep breaths, and with each exhale say, "I release the illusion of separation." You'll notice a shift in your energy right away. Try it now, I'll wait. As you breathe like this, you're not forcing anything. You're letting your nervous system remember what science has already proven. You and what you seek are connected parts of one field of consciousness. That shift you feel isn't just imagination. It's your body recognizing quantum truth. And here's where things get even more fascinating. History shows this knowledge has been around long before modern science. Thousands of years ago, ancient traditions were describing the same things quantum physicists talk about today. They used different words, but they were pointing to the same truth about reality and consciousness. And what they taught about manifestation will completely change how you see the way desire becomes form. In fact, these teachings were hidden in ancient texts for over 5,000 years. There's a story from the Advaita Vedanta tradition that lines up with what quantum physics now shows us. Imagine a small wave in the ocean. It feels separate, lonely, pushing hard toward the shore. It believes it has to struggle to get anywhere, not realizing what it really is. One day, a larger wave comes alongside and asks, "Why are you working so hard?" The small wave answers, "I need to reach the shore. I need to become something more." The older wave smiles and says, "You are not just a wave trying to arrive somewhere. You are the ocean itself, appearing for a short time as a wave. You don't need to go anywhere or become anything. You already are everything you're looking for." This teaching isn't just a nice metaphor. It points directly to the principle of quantum entanglement applied to consciousness. The wave is your personal awareness. The ocean is the unified field of consciousness that physics shows as the ground of reality. When the wave understands its true nature, it doesn't vanish, it simply stops fighting. That recognition is what ancient teachers called enlightenment. It's the same realization that comes when you see how your mind and your desires are already entangled. In Kashmir Shaivism, masters built whole practices around this recognition, especially using breath. They discovered that certain breathing patterns could dissolve the line between the one observing and what's being observed. They called this spanda, the creative vibration that appears both as consciousness and as its expressions. These weren't just spiritual techniques. They were direct ways to experience that separation is only an illusion. A practitioner would inhale while recognizing themselves as the universal force pulling in its own energy. Exhaling, they would see themselves as that same force expressing as the whole world. Through this breathing practice, the false boundary between self and other would fade, leading to what they called pratyabhijna, the recognition of one's divine nature. This mirrors what happens with quantum entangled particles. The Sanskrit phrase aham brahmasmi sums it up: I am the universal creative force. It's not about pride. It's about truth. When sages meditated on this, they weren't trying to become more. They were realizing that consciousness itself is the creative power, the one who observes and everything being observed. This completely shifts how manifestation is understood. Instead of chasing abundance, health, or love from outside, you see that the very awareness of these desires is already them showing up through you. The one who seeks healing is wholeness itself. The one who longs for love is love itself, briefly forgetting its own infinite nature. The masters also used the mantra Soham, I am that. Here, that points to ultimate reality, the unified field behind all existence. Breathing with this awareness changes everything. Each inhale becomes the universe recognizing itself as your awareness. Each exhale becomes your awareness recognizing itself as the universe. The boundary dissolves, not by force, but by gently realizing what was always true. It's striking how closely these ancient teachings align with modern physics. Practicing Soham breathing is a lived version of what Bell's theorem proved mathematically: the observer and the observed are not separate, but entangled parts of one system. Breath becomes the bridge between quantum truth and lived experience, aligning your body and mind with unity. These traditions understood that the mind creates the illusion of division. Breath can undo it. Breathing with the recognition I am that isn't about becoming someone new. It's about remembering what consciousness already is. Not a separate observer chasing something, but the creative intelligence that shows up as both seeker and sought. Here's a simple phrase you can use: instead of saying, "I want this," say, "This is already mine." Notice the difference? That's the shift into unity, that's entanglement in action. What's most amazing is that these insights were written thousands of years before Einstein. They spoke in the language of consciousness, not particles, but described the very same truth. These masters weren't just mystics. They were explorers of awareness who mapped reality as precisely as modern physics maps subatomic particles. Their conclusion was the same. Reality is one unified field, appearing in many forms. Once you really see this truth, the effort of manifestation fades into something much easier: recognition. But just knowing the science isn't enough. You have to feel it yourself. This breathing method will flip the way you think about manifestation, because most of what you've been taught about manifestation breathing has been backwards. Most practices tell you to breathe for your desires, inhale to pull in abundance, exhale to push away limits, to use breath as a tool to bring something closer from outside of you. But this approach keeps alive the very illusion that both science and ancient wisdom say is false: the idea that you and your desires are separate. When you breathe for something, you're quietly telling yourself it's somewhere else. That you're here, and it's there, and you need to bridge the gap. Your body reacts to this by staying in a state of wanting, of searching, of not yet having. Even if your mind is filled with positive affirmations, your nervous system is humming with the energy of lack. The shift is this: don't breathe for your desires, breathe as them. This is not a small adjustment, it's a total change in how manifestation works. When you breathe as abundance, your system stops chasing it and starts embodying it. When you breathe as love, your heart stops searching and begins radiating it. When you breathe as health, your body stops striving to heal and starts remembering it is already whole. This method, which I call the mirror breath, works on the same principle as quantum entanglement: two aspects of one system reflecting each other instantly. Just as entangled particles mirror each other's state, your breath can mirror your fulfilled self, turning possibility into recognition. You're not breathing to get somewhere, you're breathing to realize you've already arrived. Here's how it works. On the inhale, you breathe as your fulfilled self. Not pretending, not forcing, recognizing that the awareness that desires abundance is abundance itself, simply forgetting for a moment. That inhale is the universe acknowledging itself through you. You're not breathing in to pull abundance closer. You're breathing as abundance knowing itself. On the exhale, you breathe with the gratitude of reality already fulfilled. Not the forced thankfulness of trying to believe, but the natural gratitude that comes from recognizing truth. Your exhale becomes your fulfilled self's joy at remembering what it already is. You're not exhaling to release lack, you're breathing as if lack never existed. That's the mirror effect. Just as a mirror reflects without effort, reality begins to reflect your inner state naturally, without strain. When you breathe as your fulfilled self consistently, your outer world begins reshaping itself to match. I once worked with a woman who had struggled for years with money. She tried everything. Visualizations, affirmations, gratitude journals, energy work. Nothing seemed to last, and she was burning out. When she practiced mirror breathing, something shifted right away. Instead of breathing to attract money, she breathed as someone who had never worried about it. At first, it felt odd, she was so used to wanting, reaching, pulling. But as she kept practicing, her relationship with money began to change. She stopped obsessively checking her account. She stopped panicking when bills arrived. She started making choices from trust instead of fear. And within weeks, opportunities appeared, a freelance job that paid more than anything she'd done before, a surprise refund, a friend offering her a business venture. But the biggest change wasn't the money. It was the recognition. She realized abundance had always been present, she just couldn't see it while stuck in the vibration of separation. She described the shift like taking off sunglasses indoors. The light had always been there. She just hadn't noticed it. She wasn't becoming abundant. She was finally seeing that abundance was her nature all along. The struggle wasn't about gaining something she lacked, it was about remembering what she had always been. And that's the difference between breathing for your desires and breathing as them. At the moment you truly realize this, the struggle of manifestation disappears. It becomes recognition instead of effort. But knowing the science isn't enough, you have to feel it for yourself. This breathing method will flip everything you've been taught about manifestation on its head. Most techniques tell you to breathe for your desires, inhale to pull in abundance, exhale to push away limits, use breath as a magnet for things outside of you. But this keeps reinforcing the very illusion that both physics and ancient wisdom say isn't real, the belief that you and your desires are separate. Breathing for something tells your system it's somewhere else. That you're here, and it's over there. Your body reacts by staying in a state of wanting, always reaching, never arriving. Even if your mind repeats positive thoughts, your body still vibrates with lack. The shift is simple but radical: stop breathing for your desires and start breathing as them. When you breathe as abundance, your nervous system stops searching and starts embodying it. When you breathe as love, your heart stops hunting for it and begins radiating it. When you breathe as health, your body stops straining to heal and begins remembering its wholeness. This is what I call the mirror breath. Just as entangled particles mirror each other instantly, your breath can mirror your fulfilled self. You're not breathing to get somewhere, you're breathing to recognize you're already there. Here's how it works. On the inhale, you breathe as your fulfilled self. Not pretending, not visualizing, but recognizing that the awareness wanting abundance is abundance itself, briefly forgetting. That inhale is the universe remembering itself as you, already complete. You're not breathing in to draw abundance closer. You're breathing as abundance knowing itself. On the exhale, you breathe with the gratitude of already being fulfilled. Not forced gratitude, but natural thankfulness that comes from remembering who you are. Your exhale becomes the joy of a self that has never known lack. You're not breathing out to release scarcity, you're breathing as if scarcity never existed. This creates the mirror effect. Just as a mirror reflects without trying, your reality begins reflecting your embodied state effortlessly. When you breathe as your fulfilled self, your world rearranges to match that frequency. I worked with someone who struggled with money for years. She had tried visualizations, affirmations, gratitude lists, even energy work. Nothing lasted. She was exhausted. When she began mirror breathing, everything shifted. Instead of breathing to attract money, she breathed as someone who had never worried about it. At first, it felt odd, she was used to wanting, grasping, reaching. But with practice, her whole relationship with money changed. She stopped obsessively checking her account. She stopped panicking at bills. She began making choices from trust, not fear. Within weeks, opportunities showed up, a freelance job that paid more than ever, an unexpected tax refund, a friend offering a business chance. But the biggest change wasn't the money, it was her recognition. She saw that abundance had always been there. She just hadn't been tuned to it. She described the shift as if she had been wearing dark glasses indoors. Once she took them off, the light had always been there. She wasn't becoming abundant. She was realizing abundance was her nature all along. The struggle wasn't about gaining something new. It was about remembering what she had always been. And that's the real difference between breathing for your desires and breathing as them. The wave doesn't vanish into the ocean, it realizes it never left in the first place. This recognition isn't loud or dramatic. It's more like slipping off a pair of sunglasses you didn't know you were wearing. Suddenly, everything looks brighter and clearer, but it's the same world. You're just seeing it without the filter of separation. You realize that what you thought was missing was never gone. What you believed you had to chase was never anywhere but here. What you imagined you needed to become, you already are. At this point, breathing feels effortless, manifestation feels natural, and life flows as easily as water moving downhill. You're no longer fighting the current of separation. You're resting in the awareness that you and the current are one expression of consciousness. Here's a bonus practice for you. Tonight before bed, place your hand on your heart and breathe while saying, "I am already everything I seek." Do it for just 2 minutes and notice how differently you wake up tomorrow. This is quantum programming in its truest sense. You're not forcing yourself to believe something untrue, you're retraining your nervous system to recognize what has always been real, but hidden under the illusion of separation. And once you integrate this, everything changes. Your outside world doesn't shift first while you wait to feel different. It's the opposite, you remember what you are, and then the outer world rearranges itself around that recognition. It's not supernatural magic. It's the natural effect of aligning with quantum reality. When you stop sending out the signal of separation, life stops sending separation back. When you embody unity, unity becomes your lived reality. This is how consciousness operates, how the quantum field responds, and why manifestation becomes as natural as breathing. Unity breathing dissolves the illusion of division, showing you that you and your desires are already entangled expressions of one consciousness. Manifestation happens instantly through recognition, not creation. Since you stayed with me to the end, here's your quick start challenge. For the next 7 days, start every morning by breathing as your fulfilled self for just 3 minutes. By the end of the week, you'll understand what I mean when I say, you are what you seek. If this way of approaching manifestation speaks to you, go back and watch my earlier video about breaking the habit of being yourself. In it, I show how people are healing illnesses and transforming their lives through mental rehearsal and emotional embodiment. Try the mirror breath method for a week and share your experiences in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more quantum manifestation techniques that actually work. Always remember, you are not separate from what you want, you are what you want.